architecture and strategy. And here's the other, and I think this question came up on the cost. So I want to just say a couple of comments on this benefit of what I called here an active energy storage system. So if you have your battery today or chemical storage that has 100% state of charge, fully charged, and go all the way down to roughly, you'd like to go down to 20%. And I know we'll hear more about these state of charge discussions today. For example, the buses, those electric buses made for the 2008 Olympics, they use large format lithium-ion batteries, 200 amp hour cells. Those batteries were designed, and I talked to the developers on that bus, and I said, well, how deep do you let your state of charge go when you're running around the Olympic area and picking up people and dropping them off? He said, we're not ever going to let it go below 50%. And you're not going to charge these things all the way up. I put 85 or 90% because you have to really throttle back on your charge rate with these lithium when you get close to top of charge. But he said, even so, he said, but we're not going to let it go 50%. He said, because we don't know what's going to happen. So they would rather go back and do their battery swaps more often than letting it push down here to maybe a 30% or lower. And that was because of safety. The last thing they'd want is one of these battery electric buses burning up in the Olympic Village. So that's my point is, we have on the top of charge, you have this charge acceptance issue. And then you have on the bottom, you have, how do I meet power at end of life when I'm nearly fully depleted? And what I firmly believe here is that with these combinations, I can widen that. The DOE's goal is 70%, a 70% window. Now, why is this important? Because all the numbers you hear, for example, if the target is $350 a kilowatt hour, right? But that's a kilowatt hour for all of these kilowatt hours, which you only get to use half of. So it really means to get $350 a kilowatt hour of deliverable energy, usable energy, you have to get the pack down 195. That's a real tough challenge on getting to those sort of numbers. So if you see, and that, by the way, is that usually the metrics are for pack level. That means cell level, including all of the thermal and the battery management, electronics and all that, it's going to be nearly half that much again. So you're going to be talking about cell costs that are a fourth of this total number to be able to achieve those sort of targets. And then the last part I had in here was just a chart here showing for smart grid, just to close out on this. And across the top, it shows all of the storage possibilities. All the way here from super ultracapacitors to SMES, flywheels, the flow batteries, pumped hydro, compressed air, all the way up. And then it shows the type of services that the utility and the durations that would be required. So if you have this several hour time shifting, for example, the best you can go out to here is some of the high energy flow batteries or sodium sulfurs. And when you get down in here into the seconds and minutes, this is where some of these capacitors come in, where you can do fast ramp changes for demand response, and for the ancillary services like voltage and frequency regulation. And of course, the flywheels benefit at scale because it's easier to make a very high energy flywheel than it is to make a small energy one. So they benefit from scale better than ultracapacitors do. So they come in and they're able to do even longer times. But there can be combinations of all of these different sorts of storage sources. So to close out, I want to say, to close, I want to say that from the way I see it, the best batteries today are these insertion chemistry types, right? The intercalating lithiums. They do have cost issues with strategic materials. Even though it's a nickel metal hydride battery, it still has a lot of cobalt in it. Lithium, there's not that much, but they're expensive polymer separators and expensive to build. The safety concerns are mainly from electrode impurities or non-uniform or non-uniformities in the electrodes, things that appear late in service life. For example, it was in your laptop for 18 months or so, and then like the one that happened on an airplane a couple of years ago where it caught fire in the overhead bin. They happen later in life. And I pointed out that some of this dissolved gas analysis is a potential prognostic like the utilities already use. And the utility applications for storage, I think, are real demanding, not just because of the sheer size, but because of the continuous use, 24/7. And I think that's an area there where capacitors or combinations can help. And then this whole bit about the role of power electronics, that's happening. If you look at some of the things up, for example, I participate in this FREEDOM activity, this Future Renewable Electric Energy Delivery and Management. And that's one of the key aspects of all of that for the future grid. It's completely power electronic centric. So with that, I'll take any questions.